Today, we clear up my confusion regarding service and web workers. But first, we have a public service announcement for you GitHub users. Now, being lax on securing your repos and data can mess you up. And as this dev discovered today, this guy up here, uh, losing $40,000 in crypto in 2 minutes after pushing his credentials to GitHub. But before you laugh at his misfortune, you want to hear what Storyteller has to say that could happen to your repos. It's Küster's day off, but he's left us with a teaser for next week's mobile episode. Stick around until the end for the free money giveaway. This is episode 41, and you're watching or listening to This Week in MeteorJS, a weekly news segment of the MeteorJS Dispatches podcast aimed at both new and returning MeteorJS users. I'm your host, Alim Gafar, streaming from New York City.
And I'm Dvorak, aka Storyteller, coming to you live from Prague.
All right. And as always, we head straight into the news.
All right, let's get started, everybody. A lot of stuff. Alim already started with the issue that if you accidentally push your credentials, be it to your wallet or something like that, you tend to lose money very quickly. Said, there is something new that is targeting your repository code in the classical, I'll steal your data, encrypt it, and then, send me crypto to get it back. This came, you could say, just a few days ago. It came to be known, and usually what happens is your repositories might become something like that, and then you get this message in an issue or somewhere else, or you should try email. I hope this email finds you well, blah 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 blah, and pay us $250,000 to get anything back. And here is our Telegram, and we are very legit looking. So that is the latest, how should I say, not really scam, just attack that's targeting GitHub specifically. Here, German Fernandez has started monitoring it. We also have a here from Bleeping Computers, an article about this, explaining more and how this happens. This attack is actually a phishing attack, at least from what I could see so far. If you look here, you get this nice looking email, relatively speaking, from notifications@github.com. And there's this, something happened, and click this link to authorize security reversal. And that's how they get you. Let me see if I can find this. Yes, here we'll see. We'll get this signed to GitHub's authorized security. You sign in, and they get access to your account, repositories, and it's over. That is if you only have the basic security. So how to get quickly, secure more stuff? I think we have been, on this, Alim, a lot of times, but it always bears to repeat. Have two-factor authentication. If you can also get passkeys, let me quickly show you what a passkey looks like. Maybe, oops, that's over here. So it's like, this is YubiKey. So you need to plug that in, and every time something requires two-factor authentication, you need to click it, maybe also enter password. So that, and this usually has to do with destructive things in your repository. So those are really awesome. And you should generally, review which apps and people have access to repositories, especially in regards to the more destructive stuff. And make sure you double check your webhooks and deploy keys. I think those are kind of the basic things. And of course, be careful not to click on, any signing to, sign in with GitHub, or give, access to applications that you don't want to use. And also make sure that if you use some application, then don't stop using it, that you remove it from access, because that's another potential attack vector, especially for something that it's not a big company or something of that sort.
It's a good point.
So any other security ideas, please let us know in the comments if I missed something. Or Alim, anything else to add to this?
I don't right now. I'm still a little bit shocked at the GitLocker attack information that just came out a few hours back.
A few days at this point. Well, actually,
Is it a few days? I thought
the update. The update is like 9 hours old.
9 hours old. Yeah.
The big thing about this is looking at least from what German is saying here on Twitter, this has been ongoing for a while. So, but it's only like just getting more could say mainstream attention, especially with the Bleeping Computers article. So,
sure.
And this is going to be, I think, quite difficult thing to really stop. It's just that something that you have to be constantly on a lookout, that people are going to send you phishing emails, try to go to a website to click something. It looks usually very nice and or similar something to are used to, and then suddenly your data is gone. So again, this is where two-factor is of the utmost importance to have enabled.
Did they say whether or not this is targeted beyond folks that don't have that basically only have basic authentication set? Is this being targeted towards open source developers or just developers in general that have an account on GitHub?
From my understanding, I haven't heard anything about specific targeting, so I'm assuming this is just blanket, send it out and see what happens. Also, as was mentioned, so let's see here, the email, it looks, notifications at github.com. And that's a mask. That is a problem. You have to be very careful about this. That it's actually coming from the source it's saying.
Sure.
It's not. It can be masked. So people should be very careful about those things.
All right. Do you have better news for us?
Let's see. I have Meteor news for you. So let's jump into more cheery topics. Let's see. We had it 17 days ago. We have Meteor 3 release candidate 2 coming out with primarily, updates to Node, NPM, and TypeScript, and fixes. And we got 2 days ago update from Leonardo in regards to what's coming out in release candidate 3, and release candidate 3 being the last release candidate. So as you can see here, based on the links, there is a lot of fixes and some last minute async compatibility, but we can still expect for until the release date, which is June 11th, that will get upgraded Blaze to the latest version. It will be Blaze 3.0, probably a release candidate as well. And there will be a few more fixes coming down the pipelines and potential potential performance improvement. And after that, we will be getting the official, Meteor 3 release with any, fixes that come between June 11th and July 8th. So it's always, right now in 2 weeks increment. And given from what the Meteor team here shows, we'll have then patch versions for Meteor 3 every, other week. So July 22nd will be 3.0.1. And then 2 weeks on that will be 3.0.2 on August 5th. So I'm guessing from this SEO to catch any back fixes, any things that come up with that come after the official release, because it's a huge release, but it's gotten to a point where it, I think, can be released, needs to be released, and anything else that is still missing, or at this point actually not missing, but there are bugs, which of course there will be with this big change, will be fixed as we go on. And this is most likely going to come as we see more packages getting upgraded to Meteor 3. The good thing is once we have the official Meteor 3 release, it will become much more easier to release community packages and work against this release. If you are more on the cautious side, or have super big application or a lot of packages, especially if you have a lot of packages, I would recommend probably waiting to Meteor 3.1 is released. But already at this point, you should have on server on the async calls, and make sure that you are up to date with what all your packages are doing. So that's for Meteor at least. And I have one more Meteor update, but I think that will be after we get a bit educated about what the heck are web workers and service work, and why it is not the same thing. Alim, what's going on here? What's this madness?
Yeah. So all right. So here's the thing, right? Recently I've been looking into how do I get better performance on a web application that I'm working on, and I ran into this article that talked about web workers, and I've been hearing about workers that you could do some off the main thread work in the browser. And so here's the problem, right? Typically your browser code runs in a single thread in the browser, and that's how it's been, that's how it's always been. And several years ago there were these introductions of this off browser workers, pieces of code that you can run on separate threads that are not in the main browser, that you can offload work to so that you don't block the main thread. Great idea. Never really looked into it, never used it. But recently I had some computations that I needed to do on, within the browser, basically, doing some computations over a large data set. And I thought I wanted to take it and put it on a worker thread. And then I ran into this concept of a service worker, which is, I thought what it was is the same thing. And so, Jan, I'm not looking at the screen right now. Right. So we've got this article that was written by Marcel Achmetshim, I think is his name. It's called Web Workers Revolutionizing Web Performance and User Experience. And as I was talking about this to somebody, I realized, wait a minute, weren't we talking about service workers not so long ago? Are they the same thing? Are they different? And in the conversation I had, or in reading this material, they seem to be one and the same thing. Web worker is a service worker, but it turns out actually that that's not the case. And there is an article, it took me a while to get to. I'm trying to remember who the author is. It's by Upload Care. It's called Service Workers Tutorial. Jan, I don't know if you
Yes.
have. Yeah, and it's the last on the list of things there. And so here's the distinction. A service worker is a very specific implementation of a web worker. So all service workers are web workers, not all web workers are service workers. And that's where I want to leave it right now. There are a couple of good articles that go through this. If you face this confusion because you're starting to do off main thread development, then that might be something that you want to look into. And so I just wanted to put it out there because it was confusing to me. It may be confusing to you, and hopefully this will help. These two articles will help clear it up.
Yeah, so speaking of things that are out there and that are interesting, may not be what they seem. Recently, at currently ongoing conference from the nation, there has been an announcement of something that we have been watching, at least within the Meteor desktop part of the community quite closely, and that is Tauri. And recently they have announced version 2 beta releases, so it's not just Meteor who does beta and all that stuff. And also a little bit of, you could say, preview of not just next week's episode, but also I would say future, because what Tauri is building itself, it's like, Electron replacement or alternative to Electron, and with version 2 also for Cordova as well. And one of the big things, so at this here I've added mobile. One of the big things that they are big and they have been very much in their presentation is about security, and they have just announced that they have passed a security audit, maybe with few little things to still implement. So this is something, if you are looking to kind of build desktop applications with web technologies, and now with Tauri version 2 mobile as well, then I think that's an interesting thing to watch and look at, and we'll definitely be considering it as we'll consider the future of Meteor Desktop.
Wow. So is Tauri using like Cordova as a wrapper, or?
No, it's completely, at least as far as I know, it's completely its own implementation.
Okay, so I see that, I was just looking very quickly about what's built on, and apparently Tauri, even though it's not Electron based, it's still using Chromium as wrapper around it.
That's kind of the kernel of the web at this point.
Yeah, exactly. So it just seems to be replacing the guts of what Electron did, right?
Yeah, and Cordova to a certain degree as well. So the idea there is similar, like with Meteor, bring your existing desktop implementation, as case web implementation, and seamlessly port it to mobile.
Well, this sounds like a really interesting development. Are you going to give it a try?
Yes, once they do a full release, and I'm guessing that if things align in winter will be the earliest I will have enough. Well, not enough time, but I will have probably the opportunity to look into it, unless my sponsors would like me to look more into or work more on Meteor Desktop, and then in that case I might be looking into this much sooner.
Sure.
Because the beauty of something like Tauri compared to Electron and Cordova and before that PhoneGap is it's newer, so it can utilize new technologies. It doesn't have to worry about a lot of backward compatibility in an API and other ways. So it's a similar thing that what we see with Meteor. We have a lot of backward compatibility, a lot of historical baggage as well, and even though it has benefit, it also has quite a bit of downside, especially if you want to have smooth.
So, I mean, the benefit right now is you get better performance because it doesn't have to maintain all this historic baggage.
That as well, but they also can choose technologies that have definitely, in the last 10 years, made a big jump from what they were 10 years ago. You even have a new programming language, just focused on speed, and so
Tauri is Rust based, right? So
yes. So even like if something comes in 10 years from now, that's going to do something similar with Tauri. It's going to have potential advantage from utilizing new technologies. What it's like over the time, though, the advantage where it is will favor the old solution when it comes in terms of features.
Sure.
But in this case, when it's doing like it's just like a wrapper and doing one thing. Thankfully, you're gonna have very nice restrictions on what those features should be. So hopefully, potentially, there will be
Yeah.
more.
Maybe we could do a live
more
stream
options.
or a deeper discussion on
Yeah.
Tori in a future episode, or maybe you might even want to do that when you're doing your
Yeah. Well,
testing.
let us know in the comments of if
Yeah.
this was something that would interest you. So if you have more people interested, it then becomes easier for me to put it on the schedule.
Yeah. So I mentioned before that one of the issues I had was with a process blocking on the main thread, and I wanted to get some work done. So obviously, when you pick up JavaScript and you learn about JavaScript for the first time, you're told that it doesn't really do classic concurrency in terms of being able to spawn threads and monitor them and so on. But there is an article by Oliver Plummer that talks about concurrency in JavaScript and the power of web workers and how web workers enables that. And again, because this was part of the research I was doing, I thought this would be a good resource to share with everyone. And so here's the article. It talks about how to break the single-threaded paradigm and write concurrent JavaScript in the browser runtime. So if you're interested in this, you want to give it a try. There are some other packages. I believe that there is a cluster package and some other things outside the browser that you can use for doing concurrent development. But if you're just working with browser code and you're interested in seeing how you can do concurrent programming with JavaScript, this might be a good resource for you to take a look at. All right. And you've got some interesting stuff. I think Roddick has been doing some of his magic in the background, as he always does. Jan, are you there?
Indeed, yes. Yes,
Yeah.
I'm still here. Sorry.
It's okay.
It's always, looking at the web workers, service workers. It's a very, I would say, just by the name, it's both, a worker.
Yeah.
It can be very easy to mistaken these, and I have this like even in other terms, which strategy and tactics and those kind, unless you constantly use it, you can then get miss them and separate them. So it's
yeah. I mean, if I can inject one thing before we move on to the next story with regard to this, one of the things that has really kind of got me down this rabbit hole a bit is there's been a lot of talk lately about WebAssembly too, and using different languages to create WebAssembly code. And I was very curious as to how these WebAssembly, components that are being created are related to workers. Are they related? Are they not? So I'm still going down that path, trying to understand this better. I know that many of you out there, it's probably like, wow, okay, we do this all the time, but this is something that I haven't done, and I'm sure there are others that haven't either. And I just wanted to get a good sense of it. I don't want to hijack where we are with going down this rabbit hole. We can do this another time. But I just wanted to kind of like get a, when I saw service worker, and I remember hearing service workers for a long time, and then web workers, and are they the same thing? Are they different? And then there's WebAssembly code. It's like, how are they all related? What are they doing? And in any case, we could probably do that as an offline too.
Yeah. Speaking of, and let me see if I can get this correctly. Again, web worker is a JavaScript feature that runs in the background, while service worker is something that is, say, almost a.
It's a broker, right? It's a web worker
it's almost like running in parallel.
Yeah.
It's between the browser and server. And it's kind of its own thing, so which can be pretty cool, and I like cool things. Speaking of liking, if you like our program, what we are doing, make sure to send a worker to press the like button below. So also let us know that you are.
It looks like this.
As well.
It looks like this.
And speaking of all of that, we have from Radoslav Miernik an announcement here of something that's called DTP router, which I think is very, very unfortunate name, because I would say it's more akin to service worker, but for DDP, and it's what it is. So I think it's very cool. So the cool idea is that your Meteor application starts a subscription, and then hands-off handling of updating the data and making sure that all the clients are updated, all that stuff, to another service that's run it's kind of running its own service. It took us a little bit to really understand that. You might remember MongoDB we usually use uplog, and then we have Redis uplog that uses Redis to kind of cache the data. And this one, the DDP router, is the thing is it's not using the uplog, but it's using the chain streams. So that by itself is a big win. It's also written in Rust, at least the undergoing thing. So by itself, the DDP router is very fast, and as is usually, it has a lot of other abilities. We are kind of also guessing, and we are kind of left here based on what Radoslav has revealed and what we have, kind of gotten additional here. And the idea is that you completely use that as a replacement for the whole observing part of the database that Meteor does, which is probably one of the most memory and CPU intensive part of Meteor, and has been especially if you use a lot of subscriptions, kind of bottleneck in performance. So very cool idea. It looks like right now it's something they are testing at Galaxy with selected customers. I'm hoping that I will be able to get into it, so I can get you more information about how it works and where it's going. I would highly recommend, also to kind of go through this forum post and all the things that are going on here, because this could be, for production app, a huge life changer going forward.
Certainly it looks like a game changer, right? It's like on the order of, going from uplog tailing to Redis uplog. It's like this seems like the next evolution in performance gains, or at least it sounds that way.
Oh yeah, and potentially, it doesn't have to also be just for Meteor. It can be anything that uses DDP and probably beyond. And I think Leonardo here has a nice comment that's posted just a few hours ago. This is level of innovation I haven't seen for a while in Meteor, perhaps even the real-time ecosystem.
Can you boost the size? Yeah, thanks.
So that's I think is a very spot on if what is claimed here is true. And of course, this is probably the first iteration that we'll get to test. So who knows if this gets some momentum, where this might end up with.
I think what's really nice about this is, we've spent the last 2 years just trying to get to parity with the rest of the Node community, and then to come up with something like this that actually is an innovation that's on top of, I think really can help put Meteor back on the map, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Or at least, the thing is with this is right now for Galaxy only, so that might be something for Galaxy to really be, why you should be like, oh, this is why you should choose us for hosting your Meteor applications.
Totally, man.
Which is something similar, which we see from other, services that kind of use the similar approach to monetize or open sources, building additional new cool stuff on top of it.
All right, folks, if you are enjoying what we do and you look forward to it every week, one way to find out about what's when the new episodes are coming out is to subscribe to the channel. We're at, I think, 210 members right now. We'd like to get to 250 before the end of the summer. It would be really a great stretch goal for us if we can get to it. And so for those of you out there who come back week after week and haven't hit that subscribe button, please just hit the subscribe button. If you'd like to know when the next episode is coming on, and we have these weekly episodes on every Friday of This Week in Meteor, but we're also working on special episodes. And so if you want to find out when those are coming up, if you're on the subscribe button and you get a notification, you'll know when it happens. You'll get the notification through YouTube. And the other part, you can actually help us out by hitting that subscribe button, because once more and more people subscribe, YouTube raises our ranking. And one of the things we're trying to do is we're trying to overcome a lot of historic content on YouTube that is no longer relevant to MeteorJS. And we're rising in the rankings right now, but we're still outranked by content that is 5 to 8 years old, that had seen a lot of views, that had a lot of subscribers. So your interaction with this content by hitting like and subscribe really helps raise the profile of the work that we're doing, and allows people that are coming to find out about Meteor to not get bad information, but get more current information. And so, whatever you can do there helps grow our community. So thank you. Like and subscribe.
All right. So to sum up before we go into shout outs and other interesting things, I found some useful resources for myself and, of course, for everybody watching. Of course, if you go to MDN, there is an article about web workers as well and how to get started with them. It's not the only place. Web.dev also has a whole series of articles.
Nice.
I do believe that it might actually have come from Google in some shape or form. At least at the very least, they have been very much involved. And then I found, for those again who wanted to look into web workers versus service workers, unless I found this dhivise.com
I did not see
post.
this. I wish I had seen this first. So now I'm going to go read this.
So which one has also, have advantages.
Yeah.
And I think, with these, once you kind of read one of them, then it will become more how should I say, clear. So again, here, I especially like, when you see the scenarios, it will kind of be kind of there. So web workers, is for data processing, real-time applications. So that's why we should pay attention to it in Meteor to potentially take advantage of this in the future. And the big thing there is multi-threading as well. So something, send data there and that then get something back and don't block the main thread. Right. While service worker, because there's some overlap, like with offline, support, but then service workers is a lot of the, fun and games, like, push notifications and utilizing other things in the operating system as well.
Yeah, the offline support makes me think of, in terms of utility, right? Makes me think of, when you're dealing with isomorphic code, when you're dealing, where you have your computation happening up front and you don't have a network connection and you want that computation. I think that's where I think of it with Meteor, is in that case. Yeah.
Yes.
So English today.
That said and done, there is one thing that I want to shout out, and this is primarily for people in education and corporate.
Okay.
We have here a post from Franz Knipp about Meteor and SAML, which is a logging system similar to OAuth, primarily using big corporates and similar. So he has created a package on that. It's usually something that's done once in a while on something similar. So definitely check this out if this is something of in terms of something that you need. At least as a good starting point. So yeah, check it out, and if you are somewhere in that area, it might be of a good use for you.
Hadn't thought of it.
Yeah, well, it's mostly like from my experience, it's like in the corporate, and
Yeah.
I do believe Microsoft accounts, kind of have use this and other things. So if you touch something along that, then that's you will have to deal with it.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what the services that Microsoft uses with that. It doesn't come to mind right now, but it's
Microsoft Teams maybe, but usually, but from what I remember, in the past it was related. If you are kind of using the Microsoft cloud systems to have, for example, all your students and teacher logins, and then you kind of use that, you interact with that to get so that the students can log in into your university system and so on.
sure. Yeah, it's an XML markup, but again, like there's an old service that this derives from. It's just not coming to me right now. It's a credential server. But hey, I just want to point out I was talking to there is a new developer advocate. His name is Gabriel. We used to have Gabriel Guba, who was our developer advocate, and then he moved on to another company, and they decided that they're going to get a new developer advocate at Meteor Software. But the requirement was he had to have the same name. I guess just to eliminate any duplication of work or that they needed to do to set up. No, it's probably not true at all, but it just happens to be a coincidence. So I ended up spending some time talking to Gabs this week, and that's how he refers to himself, Gabs. And we chatted about the channel and things that we could do to get more content in front of the members of the community that are looking for help, that are looking for information. And one of the things that I pointed out is that we leave our content pretty much open, that if you want to remix it, if you want to cut it and do something, you can do so. But on top of that, we're also reaching out. And of course, if you watch the episode from last week, you'll see that we had Adrian Lanning on, and Adrian has generously offered to help create some new content where we're going to be doing some refactoring of code, taking a look at some old projects, and working on that. So my point is that although we create some content here, it doesn't mean that you as a community member can't contribute content to the channel. And so we encourage you you could contribute content a couple of ways. One is you could take the existing stuff that we do and you find snippets in it that are interesting. They're maybe they're funny, maybe they're informative. Maybe they just call out something that you think that other people should know. Go ahead, take the content and do those clips, and obviously they get published through here, but you can make shorts with it. But the other thing you can do is you can let us know that you're creating some other content. Maybe it's tutorials, maybe it's just a little bit of help on a topic that you see in the forums, and you want people to know what you know. Maybe you want to inform people about a specific JavaScript quirk or a MongoDB quirk or feature and how to use it. I'd encourage you to make a small short video. None of us that are, by the way, here are like naturally comfortable in front of a camera. I mean, maybe Storyteller is, because he's kind of smooth that way. But the rest of us, we have a hard time with this. So if you worry about creating some content, creating some pieces, and you're concerned about like how you feel, just do it and then put it out there. Nobody really cares for the most part. What they care about is what you deliver. And we'd be happy to put it on the channel, and you can use the distribution that we have here to let people know about the things that you think are important with Meteor. So that's my pitch. create some stuff. Let us know. We're going to be creating a separate playlist where if you want to get your stuff published and it kind of fits in with what goes on here. So there's going to be a little bit of, there's going to be a little bit of check on it just to make sure that we're simpatico. Because if your content is really, if the delivery is not befitting what we're trying to do, then perhaps this is not a good match. But I think for the most part, it will be. So, we're going to create this with this new playlist. You let us know, we'll add you to it, and then you can upload your content and we'll publish it. So let's do this.
Sounds fun. If
Okay.
you know how to deal with video.
We're all learning. We're all learning, All right. I think right now we're at the point now where we're gonna pull in the teaser content that Küster left for us. He's not here this week, right? It's his week off. But he was really nice in creating some additional content. Next week, we're going to be doing a different topic, and this is teaser content for it. It's a really good piece. I think he is doing a walkthrough of an application in mobile. So,
well, and not just the mobile that we know from Meteor, and that we'll be talking primarily next week, which is Cordova, but in React Native. But I think I'll let Jan
tell his story.
Yes, exactly. If I can share properly over here. So let's go for it.
Welcome to my showcase of the Leo Online app, which is a mobile app for German low literacy people in the workforce, aiming to improve the literacy levels with this anonymous learning capabilities of the app. And this overview you can see here is providing some major topics like technical jobs, nursing jobs, food processing industry, or a mixed content. And these categories are representing the major terms to learn. And every aspect of the application is basically covered by a text-to-speech engine that helps to read aloud any textual content as well as any interactive element. And this is because we have to assume that some of the users will not be able to read every aspect. Of course, most aspects may be read, but not every. And when we're starting, for example, this technical jobs part, then you can see I already did some progress here, showing this kind of a map you may remember from some other mobile app games or something, a little bit like a gamification aspect. Let me start with one of these here. So the last time I did some writing task. This time I want to do some reading task, and every task starts with some kind of an introduction. So there's also a big content library we developed there together with professionals from several industries, and providing realistic content from apprenticeship to everyday work situations. And then it's always similar setup. You have some kind of a progress bar. There is an initial introduction of the current task. There is a visual explanation of how the items, that's the interactions for the answers, are to be handled. In this case, it's a single choice. You can only choose one of the correct ones, and then you have in this task you have to ask to tell the first letter of the word Zahnriemen, which is a German word, and of course, and then you can check if your response was correct, and then you go to the next one. And then in this case, there is a text that is not highlighted by a text-to-speech engine, which is, of course, required because we want to assess the current reading level. And let me do something wrong here. Then the application, of course, shows that this was the wrong one and the correct one was the other one. And then you can continue that and do some of the answers. And I do one right, I do one wrong, and then the last one is correct. And then once the users are done with that task, they get some kind of a response page where they got shown the overall amount they have they passed basically in that task. They can give a response how they like the task. This is for us just to collect the tasks that need some review. And then they also have a profile where they can see like how much skill levels they collected overall. And apart from that, they can go back to the overview and go back to the map and then do other tasks. And this application is written using Meteor React Native, and it's basically the same structure as this template project I created here. So everyone who is interested in that, this contains the same as my application, or the mobile application contains an app with React Native and a backend written in Meteor, and then using Expo to connect to build the app, and using Meteor React Native, that is this project, to connect both together. And this Meteor React Native library is also currently maintained by myself, but also other active members of the Meteor community, and it aims to mimic most of the functionality that the Meteor API has provided in the browser. And you should definitely check it out if you want to develop a mobile app with Meteor as a backend and React Native as a front end. And for those who are interested in, there's also a link on GitHub to Lea Online, which is the organization that with that developed this mobile app, but also many other apps. We also provided some interesting libraries like Easy Speech for the browser, OAuth2 server for Meteor to create your own, to use a Node OAuth2 server for your own auth. And with that, I'll leave this to you guys to talk about it and check it out. I hope you have fun, and let me know if you have any issues with Meteor React Native. I'm available on the usual channel, forums, Slack, and personal email. And with that, I wish you a great day.
All right.
We're back.
That is awesome. And this is a preview for our episode next week, which is going to be focused on mobile. I just want to remind people that this segment was brought to you by Galaxy. If you haven't checked it out yet, you want to check out Galaxy 2.0 and try out the commercial version on us with the $60 of free Galaxy credits that we have scrolling below. And hey, Jan, sometimes people think that we are some kind of AI. You know, should we show them that we're not?
Well, what do you have in mind?
Well, I think you know, we would just I don't know. Do you have a suggestion how we could?
Let's see, it's difficult because, you know, if I'm AI, anything I suggest is what AI would suggest. So unless I start, you know, cut my arm open here, but then again, it would be, you know, that's what would be AI generated. But I think the only thing we can ask is of our, you know, listeners and watchers to prove that they are not AI and that the YouTube is not cooking the numbers.
Yeah.
And we can probably join in that game as well.
If YouTube is cooking our numbers, they're doing a really bad job of it.
Well,
they need to cook harder.
Well, there is one quick thing that we can always, you know, verify with everybody, at least everybody who is actively listening and, you know, has the page open, isn't just listening on it on podcast platform or on a phone, and that is to ask to perform SOAR actions. So you can like, subscribe, all those things, but in order to test that we are live right now, let's put in the coupon code in the
Sure.
chat, or if you are watching it later on, put it in the comments, maybe with some comments, just hide it somewhere in there. And that is like
Let
a
me get
test of live that and also that you watch to the end of the program. So
That's
I have to
actually
be careful here because we have a time delay. So if I put it right away, then it's going to be very visible. But I'm watching now also on YouTube, so I saw do my hand gesture. So I'll watch a few more seconds and I'll make this movement so that I know when to post in the chat that
okay.
I'm a live person.
Well, we'll probably post separately because I'm going to be posting in the chat also. So I'm going to be posting the URL and the coupon code. And all right. Oh, you already put the coupon code.
So if you are alive, if you are human,
And here's the link actually where you put the coupon code in.
Yes. So
So
if you go to the
if you're
link
in the chat, you'll see that now.
Yes,
So Jan, you posted the coupon code from your personal account, and I posted the link from the Meteor community account.
Well, looking at the avatar, that one looks very suspiciously like a robot. I might not know.
The coupon code's not going to help you very much if you don't get to go to our specific page. So you need to have the link. So that's a special link that we've worked out with the Meteor software team. It's a landing page that allows you to get this really generous discount. And with the $60, you could probably run a decent-sized application for over a month for free. And if you really want to stretch it out, you could probably get 2 months out of it if you're running like a really tiny container. So, give it a shot. It's worth it, I think.
Yeah, and I answer here to Jan Pilgrim, who doesn't understand how this proves humanness. We have to maybe work on it. I am open up to suggestion to prove that that our watchers and ourselves are not bots. But this is a common, well, not so common, but I saw it a few times. Put in somewhere something that people have to fill into the comments or chat to show that that they have watched till this point, till the end.
Yeah.
And it's not specifically mentioned. I don't think we have mentioned the coupon code. We have shown it on the screen. We have put it in the chat. So if things should be as they should be, then we should see a bit of repeat here of the coupon code from people who are with us here. But that's also like another problem, because if you tell people to do something, especially with say very libertarian people, or in case of programmers, it's like herding cats. It's like, don't tell me what to do, and I'll do something else. So if you want to put in some other codes that you think that should be used, that would be that can also be fun. And I think I'll put a fake one here myself.
Yeah. Listen, man, it's your time. Do what you want with it, right?
Okay. Anything else, Alim, that we have to go over?
No, I just want to make sure. We were kind of rushing through before. I know that Jan had posted some information or some responses when we were talking about web workers and service workers, and I just want to make sure that I acknowledge it. And so he had said he'd been looking into web workers a couple of years ago. He had a work area with a forum and editable lines of code with about 1,200 moving parts. Real-time form validation started blocking text input. So he'd started a conversation there. I don't know if there was something more that he wanted to add, but I thought he was just sharing his experience, and which is really cool to hear. I had posted after that. I had asked, if you guys are using service or web workers in your applications. Jan, you yourself, Storyteller, replied that service workers you're using right now, web workers, you'll look at sometime in the future. So Jan said, oh, okay, as far as Jan, in terms of proving
Yes, was that earlier there.
humanness. And then, of course, Storyteller had to be a little bit of an idiot and do this over and over again, either demonstrating that he's a glitched AI or just an idiot human. So you can choose which one you want.
Well, the idea is that we have then a chat filled with the coupon code from everybody, so it shows that people are listening and watching. That was just a sample.
All right, I guess you have to have fun with it. I don't know how to prove that I'm a human, other than, if I go down this rabbit hole, I might start wondering if I'm a simulation, and I don't want to get there. That's a whole other thing altogether.
Oh, we might have a deep dive on that in the future.
Oh
Who
God,
knows?
we'll see how that goes. All right, folks, listen. Unless you have something else to add, next week we have our episode on mobile development with MeteorJS. If you have a project that you want to contribute to that and have us talk about, you've built an application on Cordova or React Native or some other means that it's powered by MeteorJS, we'd be happy to showcase it. So just let us know in the comments, or get to us in on what would we say? Slack. Slack's a good place to get us.
Yeah.
Right. On Slack, I'm Alim Gafar. My full name together. No S, just Alim Gafar, at Alim Gafar. And Jan is at Storyteller. Is it Storyteller CZ or Storyteller?
It should be Storyteller.
At Storyteller on Slack. And Küster is Jay Küster, right? On Slack.
I will double check that very quickly. Yes, Jay Küster.
Jay Küster. So you can find us there. But our names are in well, yeah, he goes by Jay Küster. So you could find me by my full name also on Slack if you want to let us know what apps. We'd love to showcase real live applications that are running, that people are using and getting benefit from, that are built with Meteor as its engine. So if you have that and you want to let us know about it, great. Otherwise, we will, put together our mobile show and we'll do that. But with that, I will say, listen, thanks for joining us this week again, and you all have a great weekend. Take care.
Bye-bye.